Peace, 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 peace. Okay, hope you guys are having a phenomenal night, day, wherever you are. Okay, do understand your night, day is going to get better once your perception gets better. If you are new to my channel, my name is Dina Bryant. I do these inspirational videos just so you can shift, so we can shift our energy. Okay, so I just woke up not too long ago, right? And it's funny because I didn't know if I was gonna really come back on here because I needed to get some sleep. And I had this crazy dream. I had this like crazy dream. But anywho, so I didn't know exactly what this video was gonna be about. And I had posted a video earlier today on my Facebook page, which later on I shared on here, is a shorts. And basically, I'm in the video and I'm saying, I kept saying, like, I don't know how my life, like, it increased, it improved so quickly, right? And one of the things I'm going to say is God, okay? And some of you guys, when I say God, I'm talking about my higher self, right? I'm talking about me being a creator of my reality and connecting to a power um, that is so intelligent that, if you work with it, is going to, some people call it infinite intelligence. It doesn't matter what you call it. You can't get wet from saying water, okay? And I didn't know, like, really how my life started changing because it's funny. I was in the bathroom and I was like, damn, these people ain't seen this before. Okay, because yeah, I put clothes on now, right? I still wear comfortable stuff. Like I this shirt on that I had on the other day. Okay, but it's like I have so much energy, so much energy. I'm infused with personal development and reading the books, but it wasn't that because I did that before. What I really believe is because of my fasting journey. Okay, and this is not here to, give medical advice or, whatever it is that you finna do or whatever it is that you decide in your life. Make sure you consult with your physician first. Um, Cause you won't be saying this pretty tenderoni, okay? She was on YouTube and she said, her life changed drastically because she fasted or whatever. Do your research, do your own due diligence, okay? But I know that was why everything started picking up speed because I remember during my fasting, I just spent time with God. I spent time with my higher self. Okay. And the universe, I just was putting things in the ether. And the things that I was putting out, like everything is picking up so quickly. Like even on my Facebook page, my Facebook, my TikTok, on here, of course. And the question is, do you have faith? Right? And I'm going to say, yeah, you probably do have faith. You probably have faith that things not going to work out for you. You probably have faith that, your life isn't going to get better. You probably have faith that you're a failure. You probably have faith that you're a loser. You probably have faith that, you know, it'll never happen for you. And I'm here to tell you, you need to shift that faith. Okay? You need to start understanding that it is going to happen for you. You need to start understanding that you are deserving and you are worthy. Um, you need to start understanding that you are beautiful. You need to understand that you're the creator of your reality. And whatever it is that you desire, you can manifest it. Right? I really want you to shift your faith. Okay, you may believe in things not working out because you may say to yourself, why would they work out? They never have. They're gonna work out because you're gonna shift your faith. They're gonna work out because you're gonna start studying. You're gonna start reprogramming your mind. And the only way to reprogram your mind is to take the cassette out that's in your subconscious mind right now that has like the limited beliefs, the doubts, the worries, the insecurities, okay? You're going to take that out and you're going to put something else in of your choosing. Everything, yes, we all have free will, okay? But free will, it does not exempt us from these laws of this here universe. Is a law of poverty, is a law of hate, is a law of scarcity, okay? Is a law of success. And you have to see which one are you willing to plant seeds in. Like, are you willing to plant seeds in success? Successful seeds. And if you are, you got to do what successful people do. Okay? Like, and really, really tap in within yourself. I encourage, and you guys have heard me say this time and time again, I encourage for you to meditate. Even if you start off with 1 minute, I don't care. Okay? You're looking at a person, I didn't even know how to meditate when I first started. But I was so eager for something different that I said, you know what, I'ma try this. Okay? I hear people saying this calms them, this helps them with the monkey in the mind or whatever it is, or the chatter. So I'ma do this. And I started. I was eager for change. Like yesterday. I wanted my life to change so bad. And from me making a choice, right? We all here, success is a decision away. You have to make that choice if you want your life to become better. Stop leaving it up to, something outside you. Stop thinking that something is coming to save you, because it's really not. And when I went on a fast, I had a few, fears. I was a little afraid because I remember before when I changed my eating, right? And I went to plant-based and I lost a whole lot of weight. And I had people saying, you shouldn't, don't lose no more weight. And, that's all you should lose. You shouldn't lose no more. And I remember hearing it, as I was doing my fast. And I was like, a little concerned because I was like, Dad, how much weight I'm going to lose? If I'm doing 7 days, how much weight I'm going to lose? And I remember one thing that Dr. Bobby Price said. He said, when you fast, right, you're not losing weight, you're losing waste. And I remember hearing it. I also kept listening to Dr. Miles Monroe. And I've been talking about Dr. Miles Monroe. And you know what's funny? Because sometimes when we do stuff, like when I make these videos, right? And I had a psychic tell me this too. I had got a reading from this gorgeous queen on Instagram. I don't know her name. God damn it. Damn it. She has like a French name. Right. But I had got a reading from her. And I was like, oh, I just did a video on that. And she was like, yeah, Dina, she was like, you think you giving people, you think you doing videos for people. She was like, but those videos be for you. And it was truth in that, because when I'm doing videos, I'm not only doing the videos for you guys. A lot of times, like, I need to hear this stuff. And oftentimes I go back and I watch my videos. I rewatch my own videos to get inspiration from myself. And one of the things that I remember like it is so fascinating like how the universe will conspire to move for you. Like if you just have a little faith. Like faith, I believe in the Bible. I don't know the Bible word for word. But somewhere in the Bible it says, you know, faith of a mustard seed. Okay. If you have faith of a mustard seed, and that's all I did. I just did the fast. I kept on meditating. I kept connecting to my higher self. I kept reading this book, the Prosperity Bible, over and over and over again. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wallace. Okay, I kept on reading it so many times. Okay, and this is what occupied my time. So I wasn't watching TV. I wasn't listening to music. I wasn't, doing those things. I did like towards the end, like the fourth day. I went on YouTube and I would be looking up recipes, whatever. But me being on my phone, the way I was on my phone, scrolling, I put all that time, all that energy back into myself. And I had faith. Like, it was a video even that I did. Some videos I may get emotional and cry, but it was a video that I did. And for some reason, I went in a, I was in a, I have like the most downloads in a bathroom. But I went in the bathroom and I remember this, it was like this image came to me, this memory came to me of me and my sister Melissa, okay, my day one. It came to me like when we would watch like the music awards. And I remember, and I said this earlier, I remember like, the celebrities would get on TV on the stage or whatever, and they always would say, I want to give a special thanks to God. And for some reason, that memory stood out. And even with faith, right? Like even far as me saying God, right? Like I don't want people to get a misconstrued idea. Hey Tracy, peace here, baby, peace here. I don't want people to get a misconstrued concept of what I mean when I say God. Like I'm not talking about something outside you. I'm not talking about when I say pray, I'm not talking about get on your knees and beg. I'm not talking about none of that. And so it was like I needed to reconnect to my higher self. And fasting for me, it was like it was emotional. It was emotional, it was strengthening, it was cleansing, it was spiritual. Um it was a beautiful experience for my first time like actually doing it for 7 days. And fasting, it wasn't about me, watching TV. And that's another thing because, people say they fast, and but when you go on a fast, you're really supposed to disconnect from everything. Um, and so I had faith. I had faith. Like when the chatter came up about me losing too much weight or whatever, I had faith to know that everything's gonna turn out right. And it feels like the universe, because I remember that day, the last day before I went on a fast, I was talking about Dr. Miles Monroe. And what's so funny was I said, you know what? I'm gonna go on YouTube, I'm gonna watch Dr. Miles Monroe. Whatever video pop up, I'm watching it. And it was a fasting and prayer video. And I said, all right, universe. I get it. Okay. You want me to do the fast. Okay. Truth of the matter is I've been putting it off. I've been saying, all right, I'm a fast, and just didn't do it. And I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just going on a fast. And instantly, all these ideas popped up, right? The doubt, I was afraid. Um, it was so many things that came up. And what wound up happening was I just kept listening to Dr. Miles Monroe. I just kept meditating. I just kept drinking water. I just kept doing it. I was journaling. Um, I just kept doing it. And you have to know that it's something that is working with you, right? During my fast, I was thinking about my grandmother because she will often say about the seeds that you plant into the soil, and she had like this faith like no other. And during my fast, I just kept thinking about my grandmother. And so, to the person that's out there, the question is, do you have faith? Or is also, what type of faith do you have? Like, do you have faith that things are going to work for you? I believe is a script in the Bible that says something like, and this is what really tones in for me. This is what really keeps me reminded of, source gonna take care of you. You know, as long as you believe, you shall receive, you shall achieve. And I just keep thinking about, the saying that Jesus said, to the people, I guess they was worried or whatever. And he said, why do you worry? Don't you see the birds that, they don't worry for food, but yet they know like they're gonna have food. And I just keep hearing it, keep thinking about that. And I believe everything that comes into our lives, like the universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it, is always connecting us, is always giving us hints, is always like working for us, is always letting us know like just working with us. But oftentimes it's like you don't even work with it because you're afraid, because you've been told to look outside yourself, because you've been told that, you know, you got to work so hard in order to get ahead. And you know what's so funny is that you have something in you that you came here to do, like your gift. Nobody ever could take your gift away from you. But yet and still, you don't rock out to it. And I'm mainly talking to the people who know what they gift are, what their gift is. If you don't know what your gift is or what your passion is, I highly advise you to meditate, to connect, to unplug, to be in a room by yourself, or go somewhere where it's quiet and just start writing down. You could put on meditation music. You could put on the high frequency hertz. I think it's the high frequency hertz music, and you could just start writing the thing. What is it that you love to do? Because whatever it is that you love to do, that's where the magic is. The reason why you keep going around like a dog, like chasing its own tail, because you don't know what your purpose is. And if you don't know what your purpose is like you going in circles. Like you're gonna try this, you're gonna try this, you're gonna try all these different things, but because you don't know what your purpose is, you're gonna keep going different places trying to find something to complete you. You're gonna keep trying to find something to fulfill you, something to reward you, or whatever it is. But your purpose and your gift is connected to you. Like it's in you already. You came to this planet with that in you. And nobody could ever take that from you. So me knowing my purpose, right? is to teach, is to make inspirational videos. And me knowing that, it connected me to, like, I see why I needed to go through certain things I needed to grow through as a child. And I'm forever thankful for those experiences. Cause your purpose, it connects you back. You start understanding, like, oh, I needed to go through this. I needed to grow through this. I needed to experience this. And so to the person that's out there, believe in yourself. You probably want somebody to believe in you, but the one that really needs to believe in you is you. And have faith that it is going to work out, because it will. It always do. How many times, we have thought, like, damn, I don't know how this is going to work out. And things always work out. But you got to connect to something that is going to constantly remind you things going to work out. And that's why I listen to the personal development. That's why I'm constantly studying. That's why I constantly tell you guys, get the books. Get the books. If I don't care, if it's your last $10 that you was gonna spend it on a drink or cigarettes or whatever, I don't care. Get the books. Cause the cigarettes, the drinks, the weed, or whatever it is that you do, or $20, I don't even know how much this stuff is, but whatever it is that you do, most likely you do it because you're looking for an outlet. You're looking for a vice. Even food. You looking for something. It's like I remember Dick Gregory said people look for I don't know if it was suppressants. But basically he was like, people drink coffee, they eat all this stuff is because they are or they look for stimulants, I think. But he said basically they do that is because, like, they so tired. And he was going through the breakdown. He was like, you have 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to work. And he said another 8 hours. 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to work. And it was another 8 hours. And he was like, there's 24 hours already. He was like, you still haven't cooked. You still haven't talked to your kids. And he was like, you still didn't do the things that you needed to do. And he was like, that's how people tend to get through their day, is because they over stimulate, I think, themselves. But if you rock out to your purpose, rock out to their purpose, okay? Woo, life is so sweet, okay? And that doesn't mean that you're not going to be faced with adversity, right? That's not. Adversity comes with the territory. It comes with the thing called life. So I'm not saying, oh, well, when you rock out to your purpose, it's going to be like, Leave It to Beaver or the Brady Bunch, or, I'm not, it's not going to be like, it'd be a way where as though you, like, whenever you going through stuff, first of all, it's like you protected. Like when you and I noticed this firsthand, it's like you protected. It's like outside sources can't do nothing to you, because it's like a protection over you. And I wholeheartedly believe this, because it's like, first you have faith because you rocking out to your purpose, you following your heart. And so whatever comes up, right? And since you doing the work, because people who rock out to their purpose, every one of them that I know of, majority of them, um, they go back and see everything that they've been through. They see why they needed to go through that. They take accountability, responsibility, and they connect to something higher than themselves. Whether you call it your higher self, whether you call it God, universe, you can't get wet from sand water. And so that's the phenomenal thing about life. Like, you just didn't come here. You just didn't come here just the come here. You know, you didn't just come here so you could, practically be a slave. That's not why you came here. And to the person that's out there that's you constantly, and I don't know who I'm talking to, but to the person that's out there that you constantly are looking for things outside yourself. Relationships, you looking for love, you looking for success, right? Whatever it is outside yourself that you looking for, you got to get back to you. You have to get back to you, because that's where everything is. And it's this book I told you guys about, by Vernon Howard, The Mystic Path to Cosmic Power. That's like my favorite book. That and The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. But The Mystic Path to Cosmic Power, it talks about the kingdom. And it's so funny because when I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe during that fast, he was talking about the kingdom too. So it just lets me know, like, I'm on the right path. It lets me know that the universe is speaking to me. And then the synchronicities, right? The numbers you see, the things you hear, right? That you be thinking about, all those things, that's the universe way of speaking to you. Now you have to ask yourself, are you willing to listen? You can't say that, your life, why your life don't change, when your higher self and your intuition is conveying messages to you, because they do it to all of us. But oftentimes you may not listen because you don't believe it. You've been programmed so much that when it's telling you, to go this way or do that or to do that, you just don't tap into it because you don't believe it. You go based upon what you can see, hear, taste, smell, feel, touch, feel, whatever. That's what you go based upon. And I remember hearing Bob Proctor, my mentor, say, it's higher faculties than that. It's intuition, it's reasoning, it's will, it's imagination. And there's another one. Perception. And he said there's, once you once you start getting into the spiritual, you no longer go based upon what you can see, taste, touch, smell, or whatever. Okay, you no longer operate from that, because everything before is manifested on a physical, it starts off in the spiritual. I highly advise you guys to get this book. All right, I'm gonna read this part. Okay, the creative power within us makes us into the image of that to which we give our attention. I just turned the page and I said, wherever my eyes land, I'm gonna read it. And it says, I'm gonna read it again. The creative power within us makes us into the image of that to which we give our attention to. So remember how I said there is laws in this here universe, and if you give your attention to poverty, that's what's going to constantly show up because you're giving your attention to it, right? And your higher self or God source don't want you to be in poverty. Like that's not the plan. But since his laws set in this here universe, okay, and source can't go against his own words. God can't go against his own words. So the seeds that you plant, you must reap the harvest. Because if you don't like how your life is going, the question is, why do you focus on it? And I know, right? I know because you've been conditioned to think that way. You've been programmed to think that way. So how you gonna change it? You've been programmed and conditioned to think a certain way. How are you going to change it? Can somebody let me know in the chat how they gonna change it? I just want to know how you gonna change the programming. We'll stay on here all night until somebody comment. I got time. Okay, these watch hours coming too. Okay, how you gonna change? The question is, I wish I could put a question in the chat, but I don't think I can do that. I wish I could put it in the chat, but I can't. The question is, how are you gonna change your mindset? How are you gonna change your thinking? Since you've been programmed and conditioned to think a certain type of way, to focus on living check by check, to focus on scarcity, to focus on lack, how are you going to change it? How are you going to change your mindset? It's either one or two things. Persistent in your assumption. What does that mean? What does persistent in your assumption means? Okay, faith in the unseen. But that's not really, and I appreciate you, G, for at least having a dialogue with me. But there's all right, faith in the unseen. Stay on the frequency of your future self. But what are you gonna do like on a daily basis? Hey Benji, peace to you, baby, peace to you, peace to you. What you gonna do on a daily basis to change, to shift your paradigm, to shift the habits that you tend to do? Like you wake up the same. I guarantee you do. Because I was doing it too. Yeah, today most likely look like yesterday. So my question is, what are you going to do to change it so you can get better results in life? So this is what tends to happen, right? We've been programmed, and I talked about that a lot already. You guys already know that, okay? For people that's new who just started tuning into to my channel, this is normally what I'm talking about, right? Reprogramming your subconscious mind, okay? You have been programmed to think a certain type of way, right? If you grew up in a household where as though money was scarce, right, you have this mindset of scarcity and lack mindset, unless you did the work on yourself. If you didn't do the work on yourself to get over that to get rid of that thinking in your subconscious mind, most likely you have a scarcity and lack mindset if you grew up in a household like that. If you grew up in a household where as though it was violence or whatever it is like that, you may think that, being in toxic relationships, that's normal. You may think that subconsciously, of course. Um, if you can't change a habit, you will stay in the state of changing a habit. Let's persist in the assumption the habit is changing. Your subconscious mind will shift your habits. Okay, so when you start, if you grew up that type of way, right, and that's what you've seen, subconsciously you think that's the way your life's supposed to be. You think that everything that you have been programmed to believe, like working hard, um, you know, that's gonna get you further, and that's gonna get you to becoming successful. Like working extremely hard, um, and I don't believe in working hard. Like I believe in doing the thing that I absolutely love to do, which is rocking to my passion. It don't it don't tire me out. Like I release energy, right? And so is about you doing the thing that you absolutely love to do. So how to change your mindset, how to shift your paradigm, right? How to interrupt your routine. You have to do something different, right? So one of the things was like when I did the 7 day water fast, I interrupted my routine, right? And I connected to my higher self, which I'm able to connect to my higher self, but sometimes I feel, and I remember I had heard, Adama. I was watching her video on YouTube, that she had with, I believe a guy named is Rich, who do like videos with people that's vegan. And I came across her video and I was so impressed because she's been like plant-based for like a long time. And I remember I had contacted her and I, was talking to her and stuff like that. And one of the things she said was, she said, source can't, she said, the universe can't get messages to you if you all clogged up, right? Because of the frequency of the food that we tend to eat. And I was like, I was still like, yeah, so I told her, I was like, I'm a get, cause she sells tea, like herbs and stuff. And she worked with Dr. Sabi and everything like that. And I remember I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna get the herbs and stuff like that. And I didn't get the herbs, right? The card, she processed the card didn't go through because the card had got hit. My card had got hit for another transaction, so it didn't go through. So she said, when you ready, just let me know. And I believe, right? Sometimes we'll say, well, things just happen to us, right? Things just don't happen, right? And I believe because of, remember what I said, right? The mindset. I heard somebody that's very close to me say, when I was doing the plant based thing, they said, don't lose no more weight, right? Like, don't lose no. And I remember I told Adama, I was like, that was one of my fears, right? And she was like, people will. So yeah, I do believe that is all according to um perception somewhat. Um, but I remember she was like, if you she was like, people they'd be eating a certain way and blowing smoke in your face, right? And telling you certain things and stuff like that. But I do believe, okay, that when you eat in certain foods, okay, is you showing yourself that you love yourself. Now, listen, you do whatever it is that you want to do, okay? This is not a video saying, well, if you eat this or if you eat that, you do what works for you, okay? But it's certain foods, okay, that have stuff in them that are intentionally there to have you thinking a certain type of way. So, where was I going with this? Oh, so with the um changing changing your habits or changing the things that you tend to do, right? Remember I said before, I was like, I changed, right? Like, I wanted to know how I changed so abruptly, right? Like, how everything just started changing. That was because I interrupted my habits. Okay. I was reading the books and stuff like that already, but it is the repetition too, right? Like when I'm reading the book, especially The Science of Getting Rich, right? By Wallace Wallace. I remember when I first started reading it and how he put it pertaining to about being rich, right? And basically like God and infinite intelligence, like it wants you to be rich. And that was, and I said this before, that was the first time that I ever heard it, um the way I heard it. The physical is only reflection of, yes, I agree. Right. So The Science of Getting Rich, right, is definitely a book that is really going to change. Like I said, like if you grew up in a scarcity and a lack household, is definitely going to change your mindset. but it's not about like you just reading it one time. Because sometimes we think like, well, if I read it just one time, that's it, right? I got it. But what I noticed was from me reading the books, I see something in here. And I remember hearing Bob Proctor say this. He said, when you read the books, you see, it's not that it wasn't in there. You just see something in yourself now that points you to the part that you overlooked before, right? And so that's the repetition. That's why you keep reading the books, because it's like as you grow, you will get more understanding and clarity of what's in the books. Like it's so many aha moments, right? Like, oh my goodness, I see it, right? This wasn't in a book last time, but it was in a book. It was. That brings me back to, all right. So NG, I appreciate you. I know I made the face or whatever, but I appreciate your dialogue. I remember I had this guy who was a friend of mine, right? He lived pretty much up the street from me, and he I know I said B.O.B. rapper B.O.B. was the first person that talked about chakras, but this guy, he talked about chakras too. Okay, he did talk about chakras, and he was like Muslim too, and he was so funny to me. Like I would have a good time with him. Him and his wife, like his wife was cool, whatever. She actually worked at the doctor office where my children used to go, and his children went to the same school as my children. And he was like really, really funny. And so I remember, one second, let me go use the bathroom. Been drinking this water. One second. Okay, so I remember. So I the guy, right? So he lived up the street from me, and he told me he do psychic work, right? And he always would talk about it. He would have people that come to his house and things of that nature, so they could get readings and they could do like spiritual cleansing and all these different things, right? And this was like after I had my spiritual awakening, just became enlightened, right? Had the enlightenment experience, and so I remember. So I went to him and his wife house, right? And so it was a book that he was reading. I don't even remember the book, but he was like, now I don't know if this is what he meant, but I don't know. But he was reading this book to me, and he was like, telling me, okay, okay, G, all right, okay. And so what happened was, right? He was telling me about the book. He was like, "Oh, this book is he was like, this book, when you read it, this and this is what he was saying. I don't know, but when he said it, I just was like that don't make sense, right? But he was saying, he was like, this book that I'm reading, it'll have words on it today, but tomorrow it'll be different words. And I was like, what? So I said, okay, whatever. So he had me do this spiritual stuff, whereas though I had went outside because he was like, who would you want to connect with, right? Like what ancestors? He was like a shaman, right? Was he a shaman? He was like a shaman, a Muslim, you know. And he was like all these things wrapped in one, okay. And he was like, go outside, and like he had like the what is it, like the conveyor. He was like, go out there and you could speak to whoever it is that you want to speak to, right? Like your ancestors, whatever, right? And so I went out, I went out there. I went out there and I was out there for a long time, right? It's like I was crying because I didn't know how long because he ain't say like a certain time, and this was like my first time doing this, right? And so he was like, you could go out there and speak to your ancestors and whatever ancestor, whatever. And I went out there and I was crying, and and he was like, Dina, he was like, Dina, are you still out there? He was like, you could come back in now, right? And so I came back in, and I remember that book that he was reading, right? Because I was like, I don't eat, meat and stuff like that. And he was like, no, you could. The book is saying that you could eat meat, and that you could eat some steak. And I was like, what? I was like, that book is. I was like, that book is telling you that. And he was like, yeah. He was like, you ain't. Once I said like what, and he was like, well, you ain't got to eat a big piece. You could do like a little piece or something like that. Dina is not gonna kill you, right? And so I remember that spiritual thing, it was $100, right? And I didn't mind paying it because he like he helped me before. So I didn't mind paying it. But it was some things that when you hear truth, and I'm not saying like whatever he did, I whatever. But when you hear truth, it's like something within you that it could like you like your discernment, like your intuition, it'll tell you like, hmm, maybe they capping, right? Maybe it ain't no truth. So what I did was I was like, you know what, and I was a little. Yes, I heard the story of Neville God. um Let me see. I was listening to Neville Goddard, and when he was talking about God, and he was giving his analysis of, I mean, this lady who, I forgot the exact story, but somebody had stole something from her house or something like that, and her intuition was telling her like she needed to go to the bank or something, right? But I believe it was like that. Her house made or something that stole her furniture and stole everything. And her intuition was telling her to go to the bank or go somewhere. And she went there and she seen the lady who stole her possessions and stuff like that. I listened to that video, I think it was like 2 times, but I didn't listen to it over and over again. But yeah, I heard of Neville Goddard. Um, yeah, so what wound up happening was, so I went because this was after the time that I told you guys, like I went to go see Shaman Dirk, right? So Shaman Dirk, he's he's normally, hey Mr. DJ, peace to you, baby, peace to you. He's he has like a very very interesting story, and he was on the doctors, like he was on different outlets, right? Sometimes he I know he was real good friends with Tom Cruise. I mean, not Tom Cruise, what's Neo, Keanu Reeves, okay. And I went to go see Shaman Dirk, right? Like in Brooklyn, because he had this gathering thing, and I was like brand new into spirituality, right? And I remember I went to go see Shaman Dirk in Brooklyn, and it was like a little gathering, probably like, probably like 15 people, 12, 15 people and stuff. It was like $300, right? But it was so, so good. And from me being there, I remember I sent Shaman Dirk a message on Instagram because I'm not gonna front. I was a little afraid because I said, I done told this guy, like, I don't believe that, and I deleted him off of my Instagram. The guy who I told you guys that I went to go see that lived up the street from me, like he was like my friend. So I was talking to Shaman Dirk, right? And Shaman Dirk, he had stopped eating meat because he was saying basically like he wasn't gonna put nothing dead in his body and all this other stuff if he's a living being while we whatever, right? And so I wanted some advice, right? So I told Shaman Dirk, like, I'm sending him a message on Instagram, right? And I'm like, hey Shaman Dirk, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I went to go see this guy who, he's a shaman, whatever, just explaining to him, the whole thing, right? And so what he said, so I'm like, yeah, and the guy telling me, I should eat meat and stuff, right? And it's basically I was looking for like confirmation because I was new to the whole spirituality thing, and it was like still like, yeah, I used to like it, and sometimes I smell it and I'm like, feel like, oh, that smells good. um but thinking about like the parasites and everything in there that's coming from it, like that's what do it for me. um and so what happened was, um so I was talking to Shaman Durk, and he was saying whatever, and I was like, you know what, I was like, I'm not doing it no more, whatever it was. But then I did go back to it, okay. And then after I went back to it, um I don't know about the next person, but I get these downloads, and everybody journey I believe is different. We are all on different paths or and whatever. And I remember just like I kept on getting um the download for me to fast, right? I remember I came across several videos, and it would talk about meat, right? And the last video I came across, I remember it was from uh Billy Carson. So it was from Billy Carson, right? And one of the things he said, he was like, if you want to manifest your desires, gee, I ain't there yet. Okay, I'm not. Mm-mm. Um, so one of the things he said was, he was like that in order for you to manifest. So, G, do you believe that the stuff that the meat that you eat, okay, do you believe that it is on a certain frequency? What do you think about that, G? Do you Well, I guess you don't think it's probably on a certain frequency. Well, I don't believe I'm inspired to eat meat. Like I said, I believe all of us are on different paths and different journeys, And so, for me, is always about me doing what works for me, and you do what works for you, right? Um, and by us doing what works for each other and still being able to have a dialogue or whatever it is like that, I think that's beautiful. Yeah, I smell it when I smell it. You know, sometimes it's a certain type of way, but I like what I'm eating. Like I enjoy the mushrooms and everything that I eat. So, getting back to it. So yeah, so then later on, okay, but I remember hearing Billy Carson say, he was saying he was like, some people you just gonna have to stop eating meat. He was like, and that goes back to everybody is on their own journey and their own path, right? Some people, you know, whatever it is that they do, it works for them. But some other people, what they do, it don't work for them. And so you have to look at your life and see what works for you. You get what I'm saying? So if I look at my life and I say meat don't work for me, it don't work for me. And so that's is at the end of the day, what's so important is your discernment. Is you somebody else having an opinion and saying, you know, the stuff that they say, and for you to look at your life and say, but do that serve me? Like how do it work for me? Right? And if it don't work for you, then you do something different. And that's the most important thing is about listening to your higher self. Is about like when I heard Billy Carson and I keep hearing the same exact thing, then you check in with yourself. And so whatever works for you, you look at whatever it is that works for you, and that's what works for you. Okay. And so just check in with yourself. Okay, check in with yourself and um see if it works for you. Okay? But by somebody else saying um is the assumption or whatever it is like that, I check in with myself. And if my higher self is saying not to eat it, to stay away from it, or whatever it is, and I'm receiving messages that's clearly saying for me to stay away from it, then that's what I'm going to do. So it's always about doing what works for you. I think that this is an ongoing journey. I believe that many times we may think that we know whatever it is, right? And myself included, right? I may think like, oh, I know X, Y, and Z. But what I tend to do is I see how well it's doing me, right? And if it's working for me. And that's what I go based upon. So anything in your life that you look at and people could recommend it, they could, say whatever. But is ultimately for you to check in with you and see if it works and how is it serving you. If it doesn't serve you or if it's not working for you, just because it worked for somebody else, that doesn't mean that that's the path that you're supposed to be on. So, with that being said, whoo, tonight was interesting, honey. Okay? I love you guys. Rock out. Believe in yourself. Oh, and this is what I was. All right, psycho cybernetics, right? One of the things it says in here is in order to direct your servo mechanism towards success, instead of failure. All you need is one experience that made you feel good about yourself. Remembering and then using that modest accomplishment will be instrumental in improving your self image. So it's funny, you said self image. You do not need a huge success experience to alter your self image for the better. You do not need an experience that is a mirror of what you're trying to create or accomplish. All you need is an experience. Like tying your shoe or learning to write your name for the first time. And you can say, yes, I'm glad I learned that skill. Yes, I remember the first day I could do it. Yes, I was happy. This one memory, this one positive experience, no matter how long ago it took place, is all you need to begin changing the course of your life in the present. And so the thing, remember I said the things that we tend to focus on, that things tends to grow, right? Um, I just had an aha moment. So when I said about faith, right? About faith earlier. And I also said you may have faith, right? But your faith, it may it may not be serving you in a way that you would want it to, right? Like you may have faith that things don't work for you. You may have faith that that you can't be successful. You may have faith that everything that you do, you just a failure at it, right? You may have faith in that way, but and if you have faith in that way, those seeds that you plant, right, you're gonna reap the harvest. And so you have to plant seeds of success. And when you plant the seeds of success, you planting seeds, you focusing on things that you want to show up in your life. Like for instance, one of the things that I think about, right, as far as my goals and stuff, I remember I had received $10,000. I remember I received $10,000, right, from Section 8. And one of the things that happened was like I kept on reliving it, right? Like the $10,000, like how I manifested the $10,000 and stuff like that. And as I think about that, it makes me understand like, oh, this goal I set is nothing, right? Because if I was able to do it this time, I know I could do it another time. And that's really what you want your energy to go towards. The times where as though you succeeded in life, not the times where as though things, went wrong for you or whatever it is like that. You want to pay attention to, had you won, right? Like if you keep looking at all the times that you failed, okay, that's what you giving energy to. And there's only inclusion in this here universe is not gonna exclude, like, some people say, well, I don't want to attract that type of guy, or I don't want to attract that type of female. But if you keep on giving attention to it, and everything stems from what you have in your subconscious mind, right? So when I say, if you don't take the tape out, okay, if you don't shift your paradigm and take that tape out, that cassette tape of, well, this is what love looks like, right? Somebody that's inconsistent. And as long as you are looking for love outside your existence, you're gonna keep on getting it, because the root of it is from your childhood, right? Is for you to do the work. So every experience that we tend to experience, it is to bring us back to our true selves, right? Our higher self. You could say God. So I don't care what you say. You can't get wet from saying water, okay? And when you see that every experience that you lived and every experience that you've gone through, it all had purpose, it all had meaning, right? And people couldn't give you something that they didn't clearly have. And so you start understanding it, and you start doing the work on yourself and start understanding that I could give myself love, right? And start doing the steps. Like for me, meditating, right? And once upon a time, I didn't know how to meditate, but I was eager. I was eager for something different. And then I started investing, doing Bob Proctor's programs. Okay, so I was eager for change. Um, and I got to the point where as though I looked at my life and said, I know I deserve more. Like I know I didn't come here for this, you know? And so that brought me back. That brought me back to, facing myself, facing my shadow self. Why you do things and by me being in mastermind groups and things of that nature and reading the books and stuff like that and me observing myself, me being an observer, and then I started seeing like uh you know this and this why you do X, Y, and Z, right? And then I have a choice. Therefore, now, because once you are aware, you have a choice. You have a choice. Like we always have choices, but when you're not aware, right, you're just gonna be on autopilot. You're just gonna keep on doing the same exact thing over and over again. And so but once you start becoming aware of what you've been doing, okay, you start seeing that damn, I have the ability to change my life. Like whenever I'm faced with an obstacle, right? I have the ability to choose how I want to play it. Like, do I want to give attention to it? Or do I just want to ignore it out? Let it ride out, just ignore it. Like I have that choice because I'm a dope ass creator. And then whenever I see some things, okay, that's going on in my life, and I feel like irritable, right? I have to ask myself, all right, why do you feel irritable? Right? And I question myself, like, why do you feel this way? You know? Like if I'm faced with something that I know is getting me like the paradigm is challenging, the multitude of habits that I've been doing, right? And I know I'm overriding it by doing something different. It's like sometimes I notice I could be short tempered, but that's because of me not knowing exactly what's going to be the outcome. Like I know it's going to be different, but me just trusting the process, right? Like because when you do something over and over and over again, it's like you've been doing it over and over again, so therefore you can control it, right? Because if you've been waking up the same exact way, you already in doing the same exact thing, you could predict, so to speak, like how your life is going to turn out. And I get it. That's why successful people say, success leaves clues. Because and you could predict success. But if you've been doing something continuously all your life, then you're not doing anything different. You're not interrupting that routine or interrupting that habit or whatever it is, then you're gonna get the same. and getting the same, like I said before, if it's not for the bad paycheck, right? And good or bad is just is not a such thing. It's just what we label it as to be, right? So, but you going through that experience that didn't work for you, maybe it worked for somebody else. Like I said, somebody else's good could be your bad, okay? And my bad could be your good. Is all according to perception. And so by you seeing, certain things, oh, that don't work for me, okay? You know, like the programs. And growing up, you could have heard, well, do X, Y, and Z, and you've been doing it, but you just see it just don't work for you, right? And the reason it don't work for you because that's not your path. Okay, that's not your path. And when you see that and start understanding it, like, well, that don't work for me, I'm gonna do something different. And that's when the fear, you're gonna experience a little fear because it's you stepping into the unknown. And you can't control the unknown. So with that being said, G, you saying what I'm saying, that's programming, that don't work for me. But what about if what you're saying, if that's programming too? And at first I was gonna block you. I was really gonna block you. But I said, since you commented, I said you could just stay. Unless you block yourself or take yourself. I don't even know if you subscribed or whatever. But yeah. So my whole thing is make sure you do what works for you. Make sure you do what works for you. If it don't work for you, then it's something you need to do something different. Because people could say, oh, the assumption or whatever it is like that, and you saying the programming and stuff like that. But if you see what you're doing in your life, it don't work for you, then you can do something different. And with that being said, tonight has been very interesting. Okay. With that being said, I love you guys. Make sure you're rocking out. Make sure you believing in yourselves. Keep on going. Keep on growing. Okay. And if you see it's not working, then you do something different. Okay. Like I said before, we are um I appreciate you, young deity. We are here all here on different journeys and different paths. And it's always for you to use your discernment. It's always for you to connect to your higher self and see what is it for you and if it works for you. And if it don't work for you, then that should be a sign that clearly don't work for you. And with that being said, I catch you guys tomorrow morning.